In the dusty heart of Montana's endless plains, where the sun baked the earth like a relentless forge, Eliza Thorne clutched her newborn twin girls to her chest as the first lash cracked across her back. The crowd in the makeshift town square of Willow Creek jeered, their faces twisted in a mix of righteous fury and small-town superstition. "Witches spawn," one man bellowed, his voice echoing off the weathered saloon walls. Eliza had been a seamstress, quiet and unassuming, until her husband died in a mining accident 6 months prior. Alone and pregnant, she'd hidden her swelling belly as best she could, but when the twins arrived, two perfect girls with matching cries, the whispers turned to accusations. In this god-forsaken corner of the American frontier, twins were an omen of misfortune, especially girls who couldn't work the land like boys. The town's self-appointed elders had decreed her punishment, public whipping, to cleanse the curse she'd brought upon them. Blood trickled down her torn dress, but Eliza's eyes burned with defiance, not for herself, but for the tiny lads in her arms. She wouldn't beg, she'd endure, as she always had. From the edge of the crowd, Jack Harlan watched, his calloused hands clenched around the reins of his horse. A rugged rancher in his mid-40s, Jack was a man carved from the same unforgiving rock as the Rockies. His face, weathered by years of solitary toil on his sprawling ranch, hid scars deeper than the ones from branding irons or barbed wire. He'd come to town for supplies, flour, nails, a new rope, but now he couldn't tear his gaze away. Jack had seen cruelty before, stampedes that crushed men, winters that stole livestock, but this? Weeping the woman for birthing life? It stirred something primal in him, a rage he'd buried long ago without a word. He dismounted, his boots thudding against the dry dirt like thunderclaps. The crowd parted as he strode forward, his broad shoulders casting a shadow over the whipping post. "Enough!" Jack's voice boomed, low and gravelly, cutting through the murmurs like a knife. The elder holding the whip paused, mid-swing, his eyes narrowing. "This ain't justice. It's barbarism." Eliza lifted her head, her vision blurred by pain and tears, to see this stranger, a man with a jaw set like iron and as the color of storm clouds. He wasn't from Willow Creek. Everyone knew the Harlan Ranch was miles out, a lonely outpost where Jack lived alone, tending cattle and ghosts. Whispers rippled, "That's the widower, lost his family years back." Jack ignored them, kneeling beside Eliza. "You'll live with me now," he said, his words simple, unyielding. "You and the little ones. No more of this." The crowd gasped, but no one dared challenge him. Jack Harlan was a legend in these parts, a man who'd survived blizzards and bandits, who gave no quarter and asked for none. Eliza didn't protest as Jack helped her onto his wagon, wrapping her and the babies in his own coat. The ride to the ranch was silent, save for the creak of wheels and the soft whimpers of the twins. Her back throbbed with every jolt, but a flicker of hope pierced the fog of exhaustion. Why had he done this? Strangers didn't intervene in Willow Creek, they looked away. As the town faded behind them, the landscape opened up, rolling hills dotted with grazing cattle, the big sky stretching infinitely above. Jack's ranch house came into view, a sturdy log cabin with a wraparound porch, smoke curling from the chimney. It was modest but solid, like the man himself. He carried her inside, settling her on a bed in the spare room, then fetched water and bandages with the efficiency of someone who'd patched himself up 100 times. Days blurred into weeks as Eliza healed. Jack was no nursemaid, but his actions spoke volumes. He milked the cows for fresh bottles, chopped wood to keep the fire roaring, and even hummed old folk tunes to soothe the babies, cries. Eliza named them Rose and Lily, after the wildflowers that stubbornly bloomed in the harsh soil. At first, she kept her distance, wary of this gruff savior. Jack Harlan was a mystery. He ate his meals in silence, staring out at the horizon as if searching for something lost. But glimpses of kindness emerged, like the way he'd carved tiny wooden rattles from scraps of pine, or how he'd sit by the fire at night, mending her torn dress with surprisingly deft stitches. One evening, as the sun dipped low, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Eliza found the courage to ask. "Why me, Mr. Harlan? You don't know us." Jack paused, his fork halfway to his mouth. He set it down, his eyes distant. "Call me Jack," he said gruffly. Then, after a long silence, "I had a wife once. Sarah. And a daughter, barely a year old. Faber took 'em both, 5 years back. Buried 'em out by the creek." His voice cracked, the first crack in his armor. I couldn't save them. Been alone since, figurine, that's how it'd stay. But seein', you, whipped for bringin', life into this world? It ain't right. Life is too precious to waste on hate. Elisa's heart ached for him. She'd lost her husband, but Jack had lost his whole world. That night, as the twins slept, they talked, really talked. She shared her story, growing up in a crowded Boston orphanage, marrying young to escape, only to end up widowed and shunned. Jack listened, nodding, his rough hands folded. It was the start of an unexpected bond, forged in shared sorrow. But life on the ranch wasn't easy. Storms rolled in, threatening the herd. One night, a pack of wolves circled the barn, their howls piercing the darkness. Jack grabbed his rifle, but Eliza, still weak, insisted on helping. Together, they stood guard, her holding a lantern while he fired warning shots. In that moment, she realized. This wasn't pity. It was partnership. As spring thawed the ground, an unexpected turn arrived in the form of a letter. A courier from Willow Creek delivered it, a demand from the elders. They claimed Eliza's debt wasn't paid, she owed the town for her sins, and they wanted her back for further punishment, or compensation in labor. Jack's face darkened as he read it aloud. Over my dead body, he muttered. But Eliza panicked. I can't let you fight them, Jack. They come with guns, burn this place. He looked at her, his eyes fierce. This is your home now. Ours. That night, he rode into town alone, leaving Eliza with a loaded shotgun and instructions to bar the door. What happened next became legend in Willow Creek. Jack didn't draw blood, instead, he stood in the square, the same spot where Eliza had been whipped, and spoke. His voice carried like the wind, you call yourselves God-fearing folk, but you beat a woman for birth in Gales? What kind of world are we building, if we turn on our own? He recounted his losses, his solitude, and how saving Eliza had given him purpose. Kindness ain't weakness. It's what makes us human. One by one, faces softened. A few men shifted uncomfortably, remembering their own hardships. By dawn, the elders backed down, shamed into silence. Jack returned with supplies, and allies. Neighbors who'd been silent before now offered help, seeds for a garden, fabric for clothes. But the true turning point came months later, during a brutal summer drought. The creek ran dry, cattle weakened, and the twins fell ill with fever. Elisa nursed them day and night, her own strength waning. Jack rode for miles seeking water, but returned empty-handed, his face etched with despair. I failed, he whispered, collapsing by the bedside. Elisa took his hand. No, Jack. You've given us everything. In that vulnerable moment, a profound realization dawned, they weren't just survivors sharing a roof. They were family, bound by choice, not blood. The climax unfolded under a starlit sky. As the twins' fevers peaked, Jack knelt in prayer, something he hadn't done since Sarah's death. If there's mercy left in this world, he pleaded, let it be for them. Elisa joined him, their hands clasped over the crib. Miraculously, rain began to fall, first a drizzle, then a torrent. The drought broke, water filling the creek, reviving the land. But it was more than weather, it was Jack's act of selflessness, opening his heart after years of closure, that transformed them. It proposed that night, not with a ring, but with a promise, we'll face it all together. Elisa said yes, tears mingling with the rain. Years passed, and the Harlan ranch flourished. Rose and Lily grew into strong young women, helping with chores and dreaming of futures beyond the plains, perhaps teachers or doctors, inspired by their parents' resilience. Jack, once a lone rancher, became a pillar of the community, advocating for the vulnerable. Neighbors shared stories of his kindness, lending tools, sheltering travelers, even funding a school in Willow Creek. Elisa, no longer the whipped outcast, sewed quilts for orphans, her scars a badge of survival. In the end, their story whispered across the American West, a reminder that in the harshest landscapes, humanity's true power lies in compassion. One act of generosity can rewrite destinies, turning strangers into saviors, pain into purpose. As Jack and Eliza sat on the porch, watching their daughters chase fireflies under the vast sky, they knew hope wasn't found in easy times, but in choosing kindness amid the storm. And in that choice, we all find our way home.